We've been embracing and building for years, preparing for this moment. The Genius Act has now passed the Senate, as you know, and is expected to pass the House. I think that'll give regulatory clarity to stablecoins. And we've been embracing stablecoins. We've been enabling people to issue Visa credentials on top of stablecoins. We've been modernizing our own settlement infrastructure with stablecoins. And we have a whole host of innovations that we plan to deploy around the world, embracing stablecoins.
If you hold Bitcoin, XRP, or any crypto for that matter, then you should prepare for a bull market cycle unlike anything we've ever seen in history. And this thing could easily pump to a $10 trillion market cap, which would likely put Bitcoin at about $250,000 plus and XRP easily into the $7 to even $15 range. Now, I understand the current market environment has been anything but exciting and arguably a little too volatile for anyone's taste buds, but the fundamentals truly have changed. ETFs are seeing consistent demand by major institutional players and even pensions now. Bitcoin is constantly being accumulated by institutions and is now at a new all-time low on exchange reserves, which means they don't plan on selling anytime soon. This is going to create a supply crunch that's going to drive the underlying crypto market. And now we're on the verge of stablecoin legislation through the Genius Act that will open the doors for many more trillions to pour into crypto via stablecoins, as Donald Trump even tweeted that this bill will make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. So it's quite telling when you have one of the most important financial powerhouses and a titan into the credit card processing business, Visa, backing this, and Ryan McInerney on CNBC talking about how they're already updating all of their infrastructure to service crypto because they know what comes next, and if you aren't prepared, you could miss out. So if this is all so bullish, what gives? Why are markets struggling to hit new highs? And is it possible that we continue to break down even further so insiders can essentially steal your crypto from you at cheaper prices by getting you to capitulate? Well, stay tuned because we'll cover that alongside the price action and what likely happens next in the markets so you don't get shaken out. And really quickly, before we dive in, if you haven't already, head on over to Bull Runners HQ on Twitter or X. Check out the pin post in order to enter to win our $100 worth of XRP weekly giveaway. Every single week, we give away another $100 of XRP, and all you have to do is follow all three of these steps. Follow this account, like, retweet, and comment XRP, and then subscribe to our daily crypto newsletter by clicking on this link or just going to bullrunners.com. We do double verify that you've finished all of those steps, and it is completely random when we pick a winner. So if you want a chance to win, go ahead and do that. Either way, you're going to get a free ebook that unlocks the 23 secrets to helping you become a crypto millionaire. And as always, my friend, if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the wealthiest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Hello and welcome back to the channel, my friend. If you're new here, my name is Paul, and you can find me on Twitter or X at PauliDeFi, PAULIEDEFI. Really quickly, we're going to finish out the rest of this video from the Visa CEO on the Genius Act and why this is so dang important, and is really just a nod to the fact that we are really maturing as a market. However, a lot of people will still be late to the party. If you're watching this video, you're early if you're invested in crypto, because I believe the crypto market is likely going to hit $10 trillion at some point in time through a mega bull market cycle, which could really end in 2026, and bare bones minimum over the next decade probably hit 20 plus trillion dollars as more and more capital floods into the crypto market through stablecoins, and then Visa offering it to many of their clients. If you really didn't think about it already, both Visa and MasterCard have already been modernizing and getting ready to onboard crypto, and these two dominate and own 80+% of the entire credit card processing and transaction business. So this is massive, folks. Let's have a listen to Ryan McKinney on the future.
Do you believe then stablecoins are going to be a significant way that people transact in the future?
Hey, David. We think there's product market fit for stablecoins in 3 areas. The first is the capital markets use case, and you've seen that with crypto trading, and that's true globally, here in the US and around the world. But the product market fit that's most interesting going forward is outside the US. And there's 2 areas. The first is countries where you've got high currency volatility or currency controls, where people really want to have access to US dollars, and they either can't get US dollars or it's very expensive to do that. Stable coins provide an opportunity for people in those countries, maybe there's 30, 40, 50 of those countries around the world, to have easy, cost-efficient access to US dollars. And we'll plan to give them Visa credentials on top of those stable coins that they can spend in merchants around their country or other places. The second area of product market fit is cross-border, and that can be remittances, person-to-person, or business-to-business transactions. And in both of those areas, those are additive opportunities for Visa, and we're embracing stable coins and building and innovating on top of them to provide new use cases in those areas.
Right.
I think there's a little confusion because most stable coins are US dollar denominated. People immediately think about use cases in the United States, when I think most people who studied this and are active in this really understand that the product market fit is outside the US.
And so when you combine the US pressure and demand for stablecoins alongside global demand, things get really interesting, as even Brad Garlinghouse mentioned that the RLUSD stablecoin, which is the stablecoin created and backed 1-for-1 by dollar equivalents and treasuries over at Ripple and runs on the XRPL, is set to become the gold standard for enterprise-grade stablecoins. And as you can see here, although it is a relatively small market cap compared to that of Tether or Circle, it's consistently gaining traction and steam, as the market cap has already grown from just under $53 million back in March of this year to $440 million, and will likely hit billions and billions of dollars by the end of the year. And this is likely due to the fact that Ripple is probably already invested in Circle as a company through their stock when they went public. In other words, Ripple and the XRPL seem to have their fingers in everything. And so even from a banking level, things are getting even more interesting, as the US Federal Housing Finance Agency issues orders to count Bitcoin and crypto as an asset for a mortgage, which is going to open the doors for companies and individuals to feel confident and comfortable that when they hold crypto and digital assets, they can actually use this on their balance sheet or simply report it in order to get a mortgage and a loan. So with all of this positive news, I do think we are going to see a super cycle in the longer term, even though we might see a bit more volatility. Every single day, there's another announcement or some more news that creates complete and total volatility. Yesterday, the markets are down really bad. Today, they're up. The next day, they're down. Today, the Dow futures rise on a China trade truce optimism, as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says the U.S. is nearing agreements with 10 other trading partners. And guess what? Markets are going to rally on that. But if anything comes and creates a bit of fear, they might also sell off. So the real question is, what's going to happen next with crypto, with Bitcoin, with XRP, and what should you be looking out for? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts to give you a good picture and a perspective. So the first thing I'm going to do is head on over to CoinGlass to check out the liquidation maps for what futures traders believe is going to happen closer to the short term to interim. Head on over to liquidation maps right here, scroll down to the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, and I typically like to put it on a 7-day time frame just to get a bit more zoomed out to see what's really going on. Then I turn off all of the actual price levels and focus focus on where the current price is, which is about $107,000. And then on the right, you have this green cliff, and on the left, you have a red cliff. The red cliff actually means more people are long. In other words, if the price of Bitcoin hits $95,900, we'd have about $10.8 billion of longs liquidated, or people that bet to the upside being stopped out of the market, and then they would have to buy their positions back lower, which could cause cascading liquidations. That said, what I've found to be true most of the time, at least using this tool, is the fact that the markets tend to move in the direction where the majority of the money is, and that is on the long side. On the short side, we only have about 4.28. In other words, we have 2 times the amount of people long right now, and that could be based on the news with China. It could be based on the news with stablecoins. It could just be the fact that investors have a large appetite for Bitcoin and crypto. And so when you combine that with the amount of Bitcoin leaving exchanges day after day after day, this is where things get really interesting. Now, what's even more interesting is that the Bitcoin demand consistently is rising, and we can see that on the dominance chart, where Bitcoin is basically back up to its prior high of 66%. And the last time that it was here is actually quite interesting, was back in 2021. So it's no wonder that money's flowing into Bitcoin, as Bitcoin tends to lead the market. And then when people make a lot of money on Bitcoin, that money then rotates into all of the other altcoins. So that's what explains why something like XRP, for example, on the 7-day time frame actually has more people short to the tune of 216 million versus 175 million long. In layman's terms, this means we might get a bit more downside on something like XRP, whereas Bitcoin might remain in the same price range, or we could see both dump in unison. However, dominance on Bitcoin will likely continue to rise, as Bitcoin has already put in a new all-time high coming sometime in May 22nd, whereas XRP put in a new lower high and is still trending down. As you can see, our prior all-time high was on January 17th or 16th of 2025, and since that point in time, we saw one bull trap but a genuine downtrend. So I would like to see XRP break above at least 235 in order for me to be in bull mode. That said, anything below 205 is going to be danger territory for XRP. Now, it's very much possible that this truly was the bottom of the major trend and this is our new lower high. But what we would need is a break above 235 in order to confirm that somewhere around here. If not, then the trend is your friend, and the trend is currently down. Even when I pull up those EMAs on the 10 and 20, you can see that we're actually seeing pretty consistent sell pressure somewhere around that 20 EMA. The 20 EMA is actually crossed above the 10 EMA, so the longer EMA or the slower EMA is above the faster EMA, which is bearish. And then also you toss that 50 EMA on there, and as you can see on a daily time frame, we got slammed down exactly right there. So one last touch, 1, 2, 3, and 4 with that breakdown leads me to believe that the more likely outcome is to the downside. And this is where a lot of big players might make a mistake. Heck, a lot of retailers are going to make a mistake, but the institutions are going to be buying up those dips. So where I'm waiting for, okay, in terms of price ranges is, one, whether we come back down to double bottom right here around 178, or whether we come in for a major range low somewhere around 147. And these are the areas that I would actually love to accumulate more XRP. However, if that does not occur, then where I'd love to also buy XRP is right here at the $2.33 to 35-cent range. This would lead me to believe that we are officially in a new trend. In other words, the bottom was actually here in April 8th, but we're not yet sure, which means that right now I'm practicing good risk management, seeing that the trend is still down. Even though Bitcoin is looking unreasonably strong, Bitcoin is still failing to break above this descending wedge and arguably is putting in a bull flag, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't break down here and come back for a low somewhere around 97,000, which would be our prior local high right over here in May. Either way, I expect XRP and the rest of the market to follow. So if Bitcoin can break back above the $110,000 range, things are going to be looking good for the rest of the market. And that includes all of the cryptos that you're eyeballing right now. And that's it for the video, folks. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also check out Altcoin Pro University by going to altcoinpro.com if you want the one-stop shop for all the right tools, training, and resources to help you reach your crypto goals, whether that's to be a multi-millionaire in the crypto space or to simply have it create more time freedom for you in your life to do the things that you really want to do. Because at the end of the day, you can do crypto and earn an income in the markets from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. And we have one of the best libraries in terms of guides and strategies on planet Earth, whether it comes to profit-taking strategies, portfolio management, when to buy and when to sell, how to bridge cryptos, how to use an XRP DeFi wallet, how to put your crypto to work for you. And one of the coolest offerings that we make, because this thing is $97 a month, is teach you how to put your crypto to work in one of our DeFi yield quick wins. Every single week we update these to share with you the easiest and safest ways to earn interest on your crypto that you're already sitting on and holding in order to at least cover the cost of the membership. And if you can't do that or apply that within the first 14 days, then go ahead and ask for a refund and you don't have to stress it at all. But we're so confident we can help you to do it. All you have to do is at least check it out by going to altcoinpro.com. You'll see a page like this. Watch this 13-minute video, and I'm telling you, we've had pretty consistently almost 1,000 members paying us monthly to be here because we have some of the best courses and classes. I host a technical analysis call every single Tuesday. We have a technical analysis essentials course. We have just stupid amounts of value from our professional team of dedicated researchers and analysts, whether it's altcoin picks or airdrops, you name it. Altcoin Pro is truly the best in the game. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, at least check Altcoin Pro University out, and I will see you in the next video, my friend. Goodbye.